What did they quarrel over? Some kind of bet?
Something about their hawks, I think.
I like a good bear baiting myself.
Welcome, ladles and jelly spoons, to Kohigh Mathy's YouTube channel, where the past is never really the past. Today, it's time once again to look at a game turning 20 years old and becoming retro. From 2004, hiding in the shadows, the very deadly ones, it's Thief Deadly Shadows.
Oh, I see what you did there. I've been stealing spotlight for decades, so you know this is right up me alley.
I might not know much about these electronic shenanigans, but I'm always up for a good story. Cracking! Let's jump into Thief Deadly Shadows, a game that took sneaking around to a whole new level. Now, did you know that it's one of the first games to introduce a dynamic lighting and shadow system for stealth?
That's right, hiding in shadows wasn't just cool, it was crucial. Well, sort of point of the game, innit?
Thief Deadly Shadows, developed by Ion Storm, emerged as a groundbreaking stealth video game for Microsoft Windows and the Xbox. As the third installment in the celebrated Thief series, the game invites players into the shadowy boots of Garrett, a master thief operating in a fascinating world that blends elements of the late Middle Ages and the Victorian era with a touch of advanced steampunk innovation. A significant new feature of Thief Deadly Shadows is its open world design, allowing players to roam city streets freely. This departure from series' traditional mission-to-mission structure enables Garrett to engage in thievery on unsuspecting passers-by, eavesdropping on everyday conversations of the townsfolk, and uncover a plethora of side quests alongside the main narrative-driven missions. Adding to the game's immersive experience is the innovative ability for players to switch between first and third person perspectives, and the strategic advantage of flattening against walls to avoid detection. The development of Thief Deadly Shadows was carried out simultaneously for both PC and Xbox platforms, ensuring a cohesive gaming experience across the two devices. Whilst the game was met with generally positive reviews, it didn't achieve the same critical acclaim as its predecessors in the series. However, the impact was significant enough to inspire a reboot by Eidos Montreal, released in 2014 as Thief, reintroducing the stealthy escapades of Garrett to a new generation of players, don't you know? Looking Glass Studios, the creators of Thief 2 The Metal Age, faced financial difficulties that led to its closure in the year 2000, shortly after the game's release. Despite this, plans for a third installment, Thief 3, were already underway, with significant concept work completed by designers Randy Smith and Terry Brosius. The game was envisioned to feature an open, exploratory city environment, focusing on the Keepers and aiming to portray the protagonist Garrett in a transformative light, shifting from a taker to a giver within the narrative. After Looking Glass's bankruptcy, the rights to Thief series were acquired by Eidos Interactive, which handed the development of Thief 3 over to Ion Storm's Austin, Texas team, led by Warren Spector. The decision brought together a mix of former Looking Glass staff and new hires to start the project, intending to conclude the series. During 6 months of pre-production, the team decided against the original Sage engine in favour of a modified Unreal Warfare engine from Epic Games, aiming for a game that supported more dynamic combat and player choice. As by May of 2001, production on Thief 3, later named Thief Deadly Shadows, was in its early stages, with a focus on enhancing the game's core mechanics of light and sound through enhancements in the Unreal Engine. This iteration introduced the ability to hide in dynamically shifting shadows, and a refined sound system that took environmental factors into account, deepening the stealthy gameplay. Ion Storm chose not to label the game as Thief 3 to welcome newcomers to the series, and Thief Deadly Shadows became its final project name, before the studio closed in 2005. This installment marked a significant evolution in the series by expanding its gameplay mechanics and setting a precedent for cross-platform development from the outset.
Poisons. Better make sure I wash my hands when I get out of here.
Developed by Ion Storm and released for PC and Xbox, Thief Deadly Shadows is a masterclass in stealth, suspense and storytelling. Players control Garrett, a master thief, navigating through a dark gothic world filled with danger and treasures.
Oh, reminds me of my esports days, sneaking behind the competition to snatch victory. Only here you're snatching candlesticks and avoiding guard patrols.
I once stole a tea bag from the box without Mater noticing. Does that count?
Thief Deadly Shadows blends first-person and third-person perspectives, offering players the role of Garrett, a savvy master thief navigating through the city. The essence of the game is stealth. Garrett employs cunning, gadgets and weaponry to outsmart guards, pilfer treasures and undertake missions for profit. Players engage in a variety of activities such as picking pockets, neutralising guards through distraction or force and unlocking chests or doors with a lock-picking minigame. The game emphasises stealthy movement through shadows to avoid detection and encourage players to be mindful of the noise they make. The open-ended structure allows for multiple approaches to achieving objectives, with the mission concluding once all goals are met, unravelling the story further through cutscenes. The city serves as a hub for exploration between missions, where Garrett can sell stolen goods, purchase equipment and take on side quests. Interaction with city's inhabitants and environments is dynamic, with the ability to break into houses for extra loot and form alliances with factions to aid in skirmishes against the city guards.
Thief Deadly Shadows is user-friendly, featuring shooter-style controls adaptable for both PC and Xbox, including a tutorial mission to ease players into gameplay, don't you know? The Xbox version enhances immersion even further with tactile feedback during lock-picking and intuitive controls for movement and surveillance. Players are responsible for saving their progress manually, however, as the game does not feature autosave. This title offers a richly immersive experience, combining strategic stealth action with a vibrant interactive game world.
Yes, sir. Julian comes back soon.
But it's not all about lurking in the shadows. Thief Deadly Shadows introduced players to a richly detailed world, complete with complex AI interactions, multiple pathways through levels and a gripping narrative.
Complex AI, you say? Oh, God, back in my day, the only AI we worried about was whether the referee were actually paying attention.
I still think my chess set has a mind of its own. That's artificial intelligence, right?
Wonder what that is. Probably just seeing things. Hope I'm not going.
Right, now we're about to talk about the plot, so if you don't want the game spoiling, maybe dip out now. Okay, lad, over to you when you're ready.
The game begins when Garrett steals a rare opal from a nobleman's castle. After fencing it, he is contacted by Keeper Artemis, who offers Garrett access to the Keeper prophecies if he brings to the Keepers two artifacts, the Builder's Chalice and the Jacknall's Paw, which is kept by the Hammerites and the Pagans respectively. After learning of a coming Dark Age, Garrett steals an ancient book, the Compendium of Reproach, that details more about the event, along with a third artifact called the Kershaw Crown. The Keepers read the Compendium's prophecy, which mentions that an evil one will be revealed when time ceases to exist. Garrett suspects that the prophecy might refer to the city's clock tower, rather than time itself, and sabotages the clock, inadvertently causing the tower to collapse. Caduca, the Keeper's interpreter of the prophecies, is found murdered. Keeper Orland blames Garrett and fixes a trial where Garrett is found guilty. Garrett escapes, causing Orland to send the Keeper enforcers, an elite unit of assassins, after Garrett. Garrett eludes them and is contacted by a group of sympathetic Keepers who mention that the clock tower's rubble formed an arrow which points towards the Keeper library at their compound. With Orland planning to promote a young girl named Gamal to replace Caduca, and believing Orland's betrayal is foretold in Keeper prophecy, Garrett journeys to the library for evidence. He encounters a mysterious old woman who uses glyph magic in an attempt to kill Garrett, but he escapes. Garrett visits Inspector Drept of the Hammerites for answers, and Drept identifies the woman as the Hag, a monstrous folklore creature. Drept advises Garrett to search the abandoned Shalebridge cradle, having seen the Hag there as a child. The cradle had formerly been an orphanage and an insane asylum, but has long been abandoned after a fire which killed its inhabitants. At the cradle, Garrett finds a spirit named Laurel, who resembles Gamal in appearance. Laurel beckons Garrett to help her trapped spirit leave the cradle by removing traces of her from it. While successful, Garrett finds he is not able to leave the cradle as it remembers him. Garrett enters the past and tricks the cradle into thinking that he had committed suicide by jumping out of a window. Laurel leads Garrett to her tomb, which is covered in glyphs left by Gamal. It is revealed Gamal killed Laurel and obtained her appearance through the glyphs for the purpose of becoming interpreter in order to harness glyphs and destroy the keepers. Garrett removes the glyphs on the tomb with Laurel's blood, and Gamal, about to become interpreter in a ceremony, is revealed as a monster. She attacks the keepers and flees. Gamal finds the final glyph, which is capable of annulling all glyph magic, and steals the chalice and the paw from the keepers. Finding Gamal's underground lair, Garrett retrieves the chalice and the paw. He discovers that the 5 keeper artifacts must be placed in specific locations around the city to activate the final glyph, which Gamal intends to destroy. Garrett goes to the Wieldstrom Museum and steals the remaining artifacts. Outside, Artemis instructs Garrett to hand over the artifacts, but is revealed to be Gamal in disguise, who kills Orland. Garrett positions the artifacts to activate the final glyph, causing all glyph magic to end, while Gamal becomes a powerless old woman. In the final scene, Garrett catches a young girl attempting to pickpocket him, and repeats the words spoken by Artemis to Garrett as a young boy.
Both the Xbox and the PC versions had their own little quirks, including a notorious difficulty bug. This glitch would reset the AI difficulty to normal, regardless of the player's chosen settings, whenever a save game was reloaded or load zone re-entered. It was a sneaky little issue that Ion Storm managed to patch with a tiny little PC fix.
The good old days of gaming glitches made every victory that little bit sweeter, or in this case, sneakier. Now you know what's also sneaky? You at home enjoying this retro review and not being subscribed to the channel. I mean, did you know we're trying to reach our first 500 subscribers?
Oh, back in my day, the only difficulty glitch was if you lost your glasses. But also, back in my day, we would click that like button and leave a comment. If we were feeling sneaky, we would even share this video out with our chums.
Thief Deadly Shadow's journey wasn't all smooth sailing, especially on ATI Radeon cards. Players witnessed textures popping in and out, turning the immersive medieval environments into a magician's disappearing act. Thankfully, the Catalyst 4.8 drivers came to the rescue, fixing these shadowy mishaps.
Much like the mishap of not being subscribed to this channel, the Catalyst 4.8 drivers aren't going to solve that. Only you at home can do that, so you know what else you can do whilst you're at home? Check out our other social media platforms. Links in the description down below.
One of the game's standout features is its atmospheric design. Dark, moody visuals combined with immersive sound design makes you feel like you're really sneaking through medieval streets and mansions.
And, let's not forget the heart-stopping moment when you accidentally step on a noisy floorboard. Oh God, my heart hasn't raced like that since the 90s.
Sounds like my kind of Friday night down the Dog and Duck. Dark, mysterious and a little bit risky.
Just one more flaming sambuca, my good man.
Stephen L. Russell brings his iconic voice to the character of Garrett in Thief Deadly Shadows. With over 40 years in the industry, Russell's extensive experience include lead roles in Dishonored 2 and the Fallout series. Beyond voice acting, Russell is a talented playwright, director, producer and singer-songwriter, with a strong commitment to promoting literacy and reading. He holds a Master's in Library Science and is a proud member of the Actors Equity Association and SAG-AFTRA. Nathan Wells, the voice behind Artemis, has been an art director at Naughty Dog Studios since 2012, with a rich background that includes pivotal roles in the development of BioShock, Thief: The Dark Project, Thief 2: The Metal Age, System Shock 2 and SWAT 4. Wells brings a wealth of industry experience to the table. Before his tenure at Naughty Dog, he contributed his talents to Irrational Games and Looking Glass Studios. Ken Webster lends his voice to Orland, adding another layer of depth to the game's compelling cast. Paula Resta voices Kadea, and Ren Ross brings to life Gamal, whilst Terry Brosius voices both Laurel and the widow Moria. Brosius is a seasoned musician, voice actress and game designer, and is celebrated for her role as Shodan in the System Shock series. Her diverse talents extend to keyboard and vocals for the Boston-based band The VVs. Brosius's contributions to the gaming world include voice acting in System Shock 2, Thief the Dark Project, Thief 2 The Metal Age, and Deus Ex Invisible War. She also wrote Thief Deadly Shadows. Maureen Keller takes on the role of Lady Elizabeth, enhancing the game's narrative with her performance. Daniel Thorne voices the Eye. Residing in Los Angeles, Thorne is not only a filmmaker and writer, but also works in visual effects and co-hosts the podcast Martini Giant, showcasing his passion for film. Stacey Fisher voices the Heart, bringing another integral character to life in the game. Eric Brosius, the voice behind the statue, served as the audio director at Looking Glass Studio. His extensive portfolio includes work on the Thief series, System Shock 2 and other notable titles. Brosius continues to contribute his audio expertise to the industry, emphasising his dynamic range and creativity. Eric Brosius is also responsible for the game's soundtrack. Whilst it does have that distinct Thief feel,
Hey, would do. Yeah, he composed the music for most of the series, don't you know?
it's a good soundtrack, but not one that you're going to put on in the car for the daily commute. Even after Ion Storm's closure by Eidos in 2005, the spirit of Thief Deadly Shadows lives on through mods. Thanks to the release of mod tools, players have been able to craft new maps, scripts and more, breathing new life into the game and keeping the community engaged. Not you.
Mod tools. In my time we modded games by squinting and pretending that the graphics were better.
Thief Deadly Shadows was warmly received by critics and fans alike, earning a generally positive review on Metacritic. The game caught the attention of industry insiders too, with Computer Gaming World considering it for their 2004 Action Game of the Year award, although it ultimately was passed by the Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay.
Well, why the hell are we not covering that bloody game then? I mean, that's got Vin Diesel in it. What's this game got other than Easter eggs? I mean, did you know the painted portraits hanging on the walls throughout the game depict members of the development team? A little homage paid by comic book artist Frank Terran.
Now that's what I call leaving a mark, literally painting yourself into gaming history. Also, I think you'll find that the Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay didn't actually come out until June.
It did, however, secure a spot as a finalist in Computer Games Magazine Top 10 Computer Games of 2004 and took home the magazine's award for Best Sound Effects. Further recognition came from GameSpy, which awarded the PC version of Deadly Shadows the title of 2004's Best Sound. Despite its critical success and accolades, Thief Deadly Shadows didn't hit its financial expectations, contributing to the shelving of plans for a sequel, Thief 4 Dagger of Ways. Reflecting on the game, years later in 2023, Randy Smith, one of the creative forces behind the game, expressed particular pride in the open world aspects of Deadly Shadows. He highlighted the achievement of incorporating such expansive exploration alongside the challenges of assembling a new team, transitioning to console development and crafting another entry in the Thief saga. Ultimately, Thief Deadly Shadows stands as a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of its era. It challenged players to think, adapt and embrace the shadows. It's a game that even decades later holds a special place in the hearts of those who played it. Like myself.
It really is a real gem in the crown jewels of retro gaming. It makes you appreciate the art of sneaking.
Well, you know, it's convinced me to give it a try. Maybe I'll add Master Thief to my resume yet.
If you at home want to give the game a go, it's on Steam and GOG.com. If you want to check out the Xbox version though, get yourself down to your local CEX or eBay for a very reasonably priced purchase. Now if you're looking to experience just the game and its story, you're looking at a very reasonable 16-ish hours. But if you want to see all the game has to offer, maybe book a few days off work, because that's going to clock in at 29 hours or more. And there we have it, ladles and jelly spoons, a trip down memory lane with Thief Deadly Shadows. If you've enjoyed this nostalgic journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more retro treasures to uncover that you won't want to miss.
Steal that like button while you're at it.
And sneak us into your friends' feed by sharing this video with them. Who knows what we'll uncover next?
Before we go, I'll leave you with this. Do Procrastinators Anonymous ever arrange a meeting? Cheerio, see you Friday.